Hey guys, my name is Godevin and welcome back to the Black Ops 4 Weapon Guide series I'm doing here. And in this one, we'll be covering the Outlaw. Should be great. As always, before I begin, I just want to let you know that I'm playing on PC and that while some of this video is facts and statistics, most of this is just, my opinion, my experience getting gold on the Outlaw. So with that said, let's get into it. So basically the reason I chose the Outlaw to talk about next is because it's widely considered to be the worst of the snipers, and this is probably true. The main reason for this is because the Outlaw is definitely the hardest sniper to one-shot with by far, other than the SDM. And this stays true even with high caliber. Just the region, like the upper chest where you can one-shot, is the smallest on the Outlaw, so pretty understandable why people are not a fan of this weapon so much. It's also known that the Outlaw is easily one of the hardest guns to get gold on in general out of any weapon, and I would also agree with this. This was quite a pain to grind out gold on, but despite all this, I would actually say that the Outlaw can be viable, and I'm going to tell you why in a bit, and spoiler alert, it is the operator mod. Anyway, let's get into the stats. So the Outlaw has a mag size of 9 bullets, 16 out of 20 range, which is obviously pretty good, sniper. 13 out of 20 damage, meaning without high caliber, you can only one shot with a headshot. 6 out of 20 fire rate, which is actually good for a sniper. Fastest fire rate other than an SDM, of course. And then 13 out of 20 accuracy, which is not bad. For the attachments, on this weapon you can have suppressor, rapid fire, high caliber, hybrid mags, grip, stabilizer, quick draw, stock, and of course the operator mod called bolt cylinder. And lastly, for the optics, you can have recon, iron sights, threat detector, and reflex. Alright, so now I'm going to talk about what, in my opinion, is the most ideal loadout for the Outlaw, just in my experience playing around with the class and such. Anyway, so let me get this up right here for you guys real quick. So you're going to want the following, as you can see. Default scope, hybrid mags, high caliber, rapid fire, bolt cylinder, stim shot, and lightweight. So I know at this point some of you might be scoffing at a few things in this loadout. Also, I'm so sorry, this is rapid fire right here. My big ol' head's just covering it, but so let me explain my reasoning, because I know some of you are probably a bit suspicious of this class. So, firstly, the bolt cylinder is easily one of the most useful operator mods in the game, as it turns what would normally be just a really bad weapon into, I'd say, about a pretty average weapon, pretty good force to be reckoned with. If you didn't know, essentially it turns it into a 3-round burst weapon, and it's so fast that it can be really lethal, especially if people line up for you. You can get, maybe 2 kills in one burst, which is crazy. I had one time on firing range where they were spawning from the actual, the back kind of bunkerish part, tunneling through that one area, and I actually got 3 kills with one burst, which felt really good. Granted, that is a very rare situation, but it is possible, something good to note. As far as the scope goes, I personally like the default scope. People might disagree with me on that, and personally I like the scope, and I also like having the extra slot, but that's definitely something you can mess with, if you want to remove lightweight, put a sight on there, whatever, you do you. But yeah, I like it in my experience. Hybrid mags is a very nice, very essential, I would say, on this weapon, just because when you do equip the 3-round burst, you'll quickly find that you run out of ammo very quickly in a mag, and reloading a lot gets very, very, very annoying and troublesome. So having that extra capacity as well as that extra speed is very useful. High caliber, just because, slightly increases the range at which you can one-shot, which can be very good. And rapid fire is good to just increase that bolt action time. Excuse me. Increase that bolt action time. Stim shot is a good all-around choice. That can be very flexible. You could probably put an acoustic sensor, whatever you want, equipment charge. Lastly, lightweight, just so you can get places faster. Now, like I keep mentioning, this is definitely a class that you can mess with. Say you want some perks and you don't think like rapid fire is helping that much. The small things like that are fine. Really the only vital things I would say here are bolt cylinder and hybrid mags. but everything else you can really mess around with as you please. Alright, so just to wrap this up, I'm going to give a few basic tips. They're good for no matter how you customize this class. So a big thing you're probably thinking is, okay, I don't have the operator mod yet. So if you don't and are trying to do well with this weapon, maybe you're grinding for gold, whatever, then there's one thing that the Outlaw is particularly good for, and that is quick peeking. One of the only things the Outlaw really has going for it is its fire rate and its ability to kind of, you know, shoot, cover, back, shoot, cover, back out really quickly. So peeking with it can actually be pretty effective. Always aim for the, my second tip I have here is always aim for the head with this gun. Even with high caliber, the region where you can one-shot is extremely small for this weapon. You might as well go for the head, and if you're a little off, high caliber just helps for that. Also, if you do have the operator mod and you have a clear shot, you never know if there's someone behind them. There's, like I said, there's that one time on firing range, so probably usually good to go for the head with this weapon, but if you do have the operator mod, obviously not as much. It's really just how skilled you are at getting headshots. And last but not least, I have avoid other snipers if possible. So you might be thinking, okay, well, I'm not just gonna, you know, run away. I can at least try. And yeah, you can try. But if that person is skilled with something like the Paladin or the Kashka, then they're going to kill you faster than you can kill them most likely. You might get a good headshot on them, or you might get that tiny region on their chest. But most likely they overall have a better chance of killing you than you have of killing them. So if they're, you know, if avoiding them as an option might be a good idea, but you know, common sense there. And I do think that is all I have to say about the Outlaw today. I hope you're able to learn a thing or two about this weapon. And if you did enjoy this video, I would love for you to come check out my Twitch stream. I stream Black Ops 4 all the time, and I love to talk with you guys. If you want, I always appreciate likes. And if you do play Black Ops 4, or want to know more about all the weapons in the game, be sure to subscribe, as I will be releasing these types of detailed guides on every gun in the game. If you have any questions for me, be sure to ask in the comments below. I should be pretty active there, or you can ask me on any of my social media on which I'll also be active. Those are in the description. Thank you all so much for watching, and expect another guide in the future, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye, y'all.